views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Phantom Science, the podcast, where we discuss how to prove it's not just all in your head. Does the paranormal exist? If it does, how does it work? And how do we gather solid indications and data? During this podcast, we will be discussing things that many people may hold near and dear to themselves. If you feel offended at any point, just take a deep breath and think about the thing that offended you. Because we will be playing the role of the recently declawed Office of Devil's Advocate. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And thank you very much for listening.
Here's your hosts, John and Nico.
And good evening. Welcome to Phantom Science Live, where you can ask us questions and make us pee for our sins. We've committed over the last 3 episodes. So, Nico, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited about this. I'm really hoping that there's some people asking some good questions.
If not, I can ask you some good questions. You never asked me.
No, I don't like you. It's a charity podcast.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Shay. How are you doing?
What's going on, guys?
So, as a lead-in, I was able yesterday to do the Batchy experiment. For anybody that's been listening to our podcast, I put a software-defined radio at the Granger house and left it on between 6 and 7 megahertz instead of the spirit box jumping around. And, man, that's really annoying, listening to for like an hour. But there were some variances in there that I haven't gone through yet, so...
Is it sad? I wish I could have been there. I love this.
Yeah, okay. So, we are getting on and doing some experiments. We redid the lab a little, so we got a bit more space and a bit more organization. When I say we.
You mean you. Yeah.
So what have you been up to?
Not a lot this week. What do we have coming up? We have a investigation coming up Friday, don't we?
Oh, we do. That's an off-the-cuff investigation.
It's kind of hush-hush.
Yes. And then we're going to do a cemetery, because we haven't really done one of those properly.
Yeah.
So,
but the last one we did went really good.
Yeah, it did, actually, which kind of surprised me. So, let's see who's in chat. Hi, Mama Deb. Matt and Shay have already said hi to, but you get another one because you were nice and early. Well done. Get a bonus hi. Of the people in the chat, anybody got any questions or complaints?
This is the part where I look away.
No looking away. Come on, face it.
Who?
Love cemeteries. Yes. Like I say, we did. When did we walked through? How long were we there? We were like...
It was over a year ago.
Yeah, but we kind of did a stroll through it for 40 minutes. And we had the digital recorders on, really, is all we pretty much did. We were looking for EVPs, and we got one, which a really clear one, too, which I'll put on Facebook after this, maybe. And it sounds like a girl's voice saying, it's cold. So,
I always thought that was a good one to retry. I'm excited to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now we have even better equipment.
Yeah. and we got permission from the cemetery owners, or at least managers. So, as long as we don't show up with like a Ghostbusters van and 15 tons of equipment disturbing everybody, that's like
setting up a mobile studio.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. Hashtag. So here is the thing. Because we're live, we have nothing scripted, so we're going to waffle on until somebody gives us a question or accuses us of something.
Please give them a question.
Which,
No waffling.
You never know where it's going to go.
I'm stuck here. Help me.
No, duct tape.
Duct tape.
Thank you, Matt. Matt said he loves the shows and we're doing great.
Oh, right on. Thanks, Matt.
So, here we go. How do you differentiate science from phenomena? Well, you want me to get that one?
That's you.
I'll catch that one.
That's you.
I guess in my mind, for something to be a phenomena, especially a paranormal phenomena, it has got to be not explainable or less explainable, let's say. So, for example, there are most of the stuff in paranormal, especially on, when you go ghost hunting or, investigating a site, you get noises and reactions. You get, for example, an EMF meter go off after you've asked a question. Now, there is a normal explanation for that, which is it's a stray radio wave and it's not shielded or, but when we get too many of them that it starts going against the laws of coincidences, that's when I start saying, okay, there may be something going on here, which I would call a phenomena. That being said, who am I to decide that?
Yeah, sure.
But
I mean, you're right, though. It is in the numbers, kind of. Something starts getting out of that range of just coincidence.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that being said, humans are really bad at judging odds, to be honest with you. So a lot of people will think of a friend and that friend calls them and they think, it's something going on. It's a phenomena. But when you actually think about all the people you think of during a day,
that didn't call you.
That didn't call you, you just remember the ones that do. And that's, So, yeah, phenomena to me, science is empirical, measure everything, get the ruler out, define it. A phenomena is something insubstantial that you can't define, and that's, part of what we do, I guess. What is a device is suggesting using and why? So, Nico, what devices do you like using and why?
Over time, one of my favorite ones to use is a voice recorder, EVPs. In the beginning, it was not my favorite to use because there's just hours of audio to go through. I was kind of more of a video guy. But the more and more I get into this, the EVPs are the thing that really, when I hear a sound that shouldn't be there or a voice that shouldn't be there, I really analyze it heavily. So a digital video recorder for me, voice recorder.
Digital voice recorder with the camera turned
with
on.
both.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you?
Me, I like all kinds of things. It just depends what I'm doing. It's the thing. So
that's true.
I like everything from the iron filing thing that we've got to see if it moves, or the ghost feeder going off for no reason. The more we have out there that go off all at the same time, for me, that's the win. I kind of, I jump. I got I got a short attention span. It's like, I got this, I got kittens. So,
donuts.
Yeah, donuts. I have trouble with a lot of the equipment in trying to define, what is this really doing and how well is it doing it. Most hauntings, I would say, are extremely subtle, and if you go into the physics of it, the energy exchange, you know, I mean, we haven't even proved there's ghosts yet. So how are we going to define how much energy exchange is there? You know, and is our equipment capable of catching it? We think it is, so we keep doing it.
Trying to make it better over time.
So that's basically, and I like finding, you know, new ideas to bring equipment in, you know. So
like Num Num.
Yeah. Let's see. What is the best data you ever collected and from where?
That's a tough one.
Well,
some of the best stuff we've ever gotten is from Granger House, I think.
Yeah, we've got some good spirit box stuff. I mean, once again, I'm gonna pee in the pond. I mean, the quality of data, it's hard to judge quality of data because you don't know if you don't know what's causing it. I like having lots of data. That's why we take lots of equipment and get lots of data points. And then maybe come up with, well, things. The one that sticks out in my mind is we've got the ghost detector, which is basically a metal detector. And it's, when we were at Edinburgh, it went off like crazy. Normally it just goes beep every now and then. And we're like, well, you know, it shouldn't go beep. Why is it going beep? Is it getting something reflected back at it? When we were at Edinburgh, it went crazy. It was until we asked it to stop, and then it just stopped.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
another big one for me was at the Granger House. Right after I felt like something touched my hand, we instantly got no, don't touch.
Yep.
On the what was it, Spirit Box or
Spiritus?
The Spiritus
app.
Instantly, that was so crazy.
Yeah, which is, you know, I don't like the Spiritus app because I know it cheats. But that being said, we've gotten stuff from it that wasn't cheated. So I'm wondering if maybe it does work, but the programmers didn't figure out that it really would work, so they made it cheat. I don't know. So I like testing the crap out of that, and I'm going to be testing that more when we go.
Well, you know, sometimes too it is in the numbers. I mean, there's a lot of things that we haven't used. A lot of places it takes time. If it really is like a 6% kind of thing, it can take a while to get those rare occurrences.
Which is why I said, you know, it's not a quality of any one data. It's having lots of data and then filtering through it. I guess is my thing. So
a recorder, video.
And people that do use the Spiritus app, here's a great experiment for you guys to try. And ask any spirits present not to repeat. And then go through do, re, mi, so, la, ti, do slowly. And then ask them to repeat and then do it again. And do it 2 or 3 times. And you might be surprised on what you get back out of that. Now, part of that I know is it uses the microphone and then kind of remembers words and then throws them through a filter. But that being said, when we've done it, we'll get something totally out of left field. Like last time we did it, there was a really clear voice that said, "Are you British?"
Yeah.
So I was like, "Whoa, hang on a minute." So, you know, that's a fun thing.
You should have said no.
So, Mama Deb, let's see. What is your take on visual sightings, Nico?
Me personally, I haven't seen anything that people claim to have seen, like shadow figures, or, you know, something coming out like that. So I don't have too big of an opinion on it right now. I mean, I'm kind of someone who has to have it happen to me and then start kind of digging into it.
Well, I mean, I got a couple of ideas. None of them, you know, I try and, my thing is, if you see them visually, and personally, I haven't. I've taken a picture of what we think is one, but I haven't physically seen one. But to see them, they have to either reflect or absorb light, and to do that, you know, in physics, there's a way of doing that. So, excuse me. I guess I'd love to see one, but and most people that put photos out there, I mean, honestly, you can pretty much debunk most of them.
That's a big one.
If you want to. I'm not saying they're all debunkable, or even the ones that get debunked are wrong. It's just, they're not very convincing to me and to most objective people or skeptics. The old argument is, why is it always a shaky, blurry picture? Whether it's UFOs, Bigfoots, or ghosts. All three of those, which,
to me, it falls into the 6% rule. It's like 94 of it is usually debunked or can be disproven, but the 6% out there, the rare occurrences, are actually unexplained and real. I don't think it's anywhere near as much as people think it is.
Well, for an example, that picture from the Amityville house of the kid that everyone, somebody pulled out, it looks like the young Defoe. But when you actually look at that picture, and I think we posted it on Seeking the Paranormal, if you blow that up, it's a young person wearing glasses. You can see it clearly. But I think, there is a segment that don't want to see it clearly, and so won't push it too hard because, where's the fun in that?
Sure.
Visual sightings, love to have one, but even more, I'd love to get good evidence of having one. So otherwise, it's just another, somebody saw a ghost story, but it'll be coming from me, but it still doesn't help me doing what I want to do, I guess. Oh, let's see, we got another one. Oh, what was your favorite part of the interview with the physicist? Nico.
Well, you were there on that one.
Yeah.
My favorite part, honestly, was what he talked about the field being taken more serious. That was a big one to me because John and I were talking about that before the interview, about how science really can't, they don't accept it really yet. It's something that you can get made fun of if it's something that you're into or you try to study. So to get the field on track, to get people to take it a bit more serious was a really big one to me.
Yeah, I was really happy. I mean, the guy was neutral, and I tried to get other professors locally, like from University of Iowa, and they all kind of shied away.
Yeah, they do.
No, I don't want to talk about ghosts in public. What are you, crazy? So, but he actually edited this when I wrote my book. He edited the science parts because I wanted to make sure that they were right. If I was going to do a book on objectivity, I didn't want to make crap up and throw it out there. So he'd already gotten his feet wet kind of that way. And but I liked that he was down the line neutral and was agnostic about it, and agreed that science is becoming more, but not a lot, but it's becoming a little more agnostic because things like quantum physics and that have actually turned it upside down on its head and said, look, there's two things that are connected with nothing between them on different sides of the universe. How does that work? There's something else there. There's got to be. And the other thing that I kind of knew it, but I never followed up, but it's called the hard problem of consciousness, which means, is our consciousness a product of our brain, or, is our brain just housing our consciousness? And the problem is science still hasn't even answered that one, and you actually wouldn't believe how much effort they do put into that on some levels. So especially with things like reincarnation and near-death experiences, and he mentioned the article, there's a neuroscientist, and he is up there. I mean, he's well, regarded. He's been doing it for 30-something years, and, he's come to the conclusion that consciousness is basically a force of the universe that our brains kind of filter. So his reasoning is you only become more aware when you're dead, because the brain is filtering all the stuff out that we can't see. So to me that was interesting. That's really, for me, the core question. I mean, is consciousness a product of the brain? Because if it is, when you die, it goes away and that's it, no ghosts. Or, is consciousness there and just, kind of like a telephone. The signals are out there. and you need the telephone to actually, interact with it. So, whether the telephone, if I break the telephone, the signals are still there.
Yeah.
So, if the telephone's our brain, that's, and you can, and one of the arguments is, people with brain damage, etc. So, but you could do the same analogy with the phone. If I break the speaker, you can't hear. It doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah.
Not a photo. How much weight would you put into personal sighting?
I mean,
me personally, if I saw one, would I believe it? Would you?
it would depend on the situation. For me, it would depend on what I saw, when I saw it. If I saw it somewhere with no power at 3 a.m. after I've been up all night, I'd question it. But if something got right in my face and scratched me, maybe not so much.
Mickey Mouse figures.
Yeah. It really does depend on the situation and what you're going through at the time.
Well, I think I would. Once again, Nico, you're right. I mean, if I was just coming out of sleep, if I was just waking up and I saw one, which is what a lot of people report, I'd question it. Is it my brain just playing tricks on me? But
I'm a smart ass in the moment. I'd be like, hang on, let me take your picture.
Yeah, pretty much. If it didn't happen, if it's not taken down, it didn't happen.
Smile.
Jeez. Me personally, if I saw one, yes, I'd take notice, and it would reinforce some of the things that I think are possible and push me closer to the, I'm vindicated that the possibility of ghosts do exist. So, but I wouldn't, just take it. How do you tell the two apart? Well,
that's tough because it's never happened to either one of us.
All right, and I'll give you. Here's a counter argument, I guess, or not an argument, but a counterpoint is when you see the sun go down. When has sunset happened? Because once that tip of the sun has gone below the horizon, you say, okay, now the sun's gone down. That's not true because the light bends around the atmosphere. So the sun actually went down about 4 minutes before you see it go down. Now, how do you know what's really sundown? Is it when you see that the sun's gone or when the sun's actually gone? So I guess, how do you tell the two apart? I mean, if it's what we think, if it's someone that shouldn't be there and isn't there and, yeah.
That's kind of back to what I said, too. It depends on where you're at. Because, I mean, like, if you're in Edinburgh, like when John and I have been there by ourselves at, 2 a.m. and it's dark and it is creepy and you hear something or you see something out of the corner of your eye, usually it's just you because you're in that mode of alertness. You're in a creepy place at night with no power in the cold.
It doesn't have to be, though.
No, it doesn't have to be. But I mean,
and that's the question.
If I saw something standing still, like people have claimed, like a shadow that stands still at the end of the hallway and then takes 2 footsteps towards you and disappears. If I saw something like that in my face, then I'd question it. But if I see something out of the corner of my eye when I'm tired and hungry, I kind of just nudge it off.
Yeah.
If you want my attention, come out into the hallway.
It's a state of mind, I guess, is the thing. I mean, and here's the other thing. I mean, if there are ghosts and they're everywhere and there's so many of them and what have you not, but you'd think that if I go shopping at Walmart, why don't I see any there? Is the skeptical question that gets thrown around a lot. Why don't I see, so if you do see one, it is, to me, a normal reaction to doubt what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Because, it's not a normal encounter. But, if I saw one, I mean, this is what got me into this. I didn't see one, but I was at Edinburgh and I heard kids laughing. Yeah. And there were no kids there at 1 a.m. So I guess, I've had the same thing through audio, through the, instead of seeing, hearing.
Too, everybody's different. Some people see something like that and they run or they scream or they jump. Other people, they see it and they freeze. For instance, when I'm in that situation, I stop and I stare at what I think is going on,
Mm-hmm.
and in my head I go, okay, is this real? Don't freak out yet. You know, I do. I freeze. I
No
go,
screaming! No
I
screaming!
stare at it and I turn my brain on. But a lot of people go, you know, "Oh," and they jump, and then it's gone, and then there wasn't anything to be learned there. You know.
So let's see, new home. I'm going to get to your question, Matt. Hang on a minute. We're just finishing. New home, watching TV. 2 children appear in the doorway more than once. Yeah, I pretty much take that as.
Were you drunk?
There's only one child ghost, and I saw
talk
2.
to you?
No, but I mean, if that happened to me, yeah, I'd take it as you know, as read because I saw it. But also, what I do is, I mean, if there's more than once, then I'm like, well, there's a pattern here, so I'm going to set up. Maybe I'd set up cameras and then try and catch it on film, or something.
Definitely.
You know, that's what I'd be doing.
That's something I never got. You know, I hear stories from people personally about, you know, oh, this happens in my bedroom and this happens in my kitchen and happens all the time. I'm like, well, why would you never set up any kind of camera? Why would you, you know? You
got to document it.
Yeah, try to catch it. Try to write down when it happens if it's happening at the same time.
I always think of it this way. I mean, I try and stay in the middle, which, you know, that's why I wrote my book of, you know, about staying objective. I try and stay in the middle and not run everything and taking everything as gospel, I guess. But, you know, and some people say, well, you know, you're too skeptical, but, you know, it could be, maybe, I don't know. I don't know where that's supposed to lie. But
well, you got to remember too, guys, at one point, he made fun of people with ghost stories.
I did.
He did not believe in them at all until he had something personal happen to him. And that's exactly how this is going to be. Until he sees a shadow person or something happen to him, he's not going to, you know, he's going to keep...
No, but I want to know how it works, too.
And you do have to stay open.
So, let's see. Matt, with all different cameras out there, what would you use and why? Thermal, infrared, NIR, ultraviolet, full spectrum.
What did we start
NIR,
with?
near infrared.
Didn't we start with just a little cheapy cam?
Yeah, we did. Personally, if it was me, I'd probably go full spectrum. I will probably go full spectrum. I have a sneaky suspicion, if we use physics, that the heat exchange, the energy exchange is low. So infrared is on the lower band of wavelength of light. Ultraviolet is on the higher energy band. So if I had to pick, I'd say infrared, low infrared band would be where to look, just because of the energy exchange isn't that great. So if it is putting out light, it's going to be on that lower wavelength, would be my guess. But full spectrum, if you could get full spectrum that caught everything, that's going to be the way to go, I think. Except I can't afford a nice camera that does all that. Not yet, anyway.
You know, too, that's how everybody starts. You just get something cheap.
I've been selling my body on the corner for months, and I still can't afford one.
That's kind of sad.
Nobody wants my liver or my kidneys. Wake up in a bathtub full of ice. It's a terrible experience.
It's like, look at them. They're already wore out. We don't need them.
So let's see. How do you differentiate science from personal encounters, and how much stock do you put into personal experiences without data? That is an awesome question.
It is.
And here's my thing that I rail against, and some people don't take it well, or some people think that I'm attacking them, and I'm not. What I think is, I think most of this stuff that we go look for and investigate, and I mean everybody, there is something going on. Now, my problem is that there becomes a narrative, a story, you know, and then this narrative grows and grows and goes further, and then becomes more of a narrative, and then all of a sudden, you know, we're in the land of folklore. So I guess when I hear personal experiences, I try and listen to what they're telling me, what the core of what they saw, and try and filter out what they think it was, if you see what I mean.
And then how we can collect data to kind of filter out what they saw.
Yeah.
I mean, the big one is when it happened. What you were doing when it happened.
And it's, like shadow people, I get it. I think maybe there's something going on. If an apparition is trying to, appear and it's, it starts dark and then whatever. But, when you start saying, oh, well, some of them are different because they have hats on and that means something different. Some have red eyes and those are different entities. How
can you even prove that?
Yeah, and ufologists do the same thing. There's greys and then there's reptiles and then...
If you don't even know how they do that or what they are, how can you prove that?
So I try and... I don't disbelieve people. I just can't buy the narration all the time, if you see what I mean. So, I get people giving me money and put... Oh, man, is that what I'm doing wrong?
Huh.
Shit, I'm sitting here naked hoping we get more listeners. Sorry, Nico. You wondered what the blindfold was for, didn't you?
I just look away.
Blindfold.
I'm on the other side of the bar, guys.
You know it's going to be a bad podcast when it starts off with blindfolds and duct tapes. It's just not...
I trust you.
I got my podcast kit in my boot in my car. So, let's see.
Okay.
Let's see. John makes more than me on the corner. Well, Shay, you're on the wrong corner. You want to... Got to go where the bigger houses are. Oh, my word. So, yeah, I mean, we come across as, like, a lot more skeptic, and really all we're doing is trying to make people think about, before they jump off in this narration that goes off 500 miles over the horizon with very little, it's... even people that have had personal experiences, I'm not attacking them. It's just I know that your brain can fool you really easy.
Yeah.
And trust me, I've been there. So,
it's even happened to me. When you're first starting, you get off in there.
Even happened to me.
It has.
You arrogant fucker.
Come on now.
Even happened to me with
I'm
my
admitting,
perfect brain.
when I first started this, I freaked out about a lot of stuff. I was like, no, man, that can't be. And the more I dug into it, scientifically, I realized, okay, that was me connecting the dots.
And that's another thing where, it's not always scientifically, but objectively.
Yeah.
If you look at it and ask yourself, okay, what's more probable? Did I just wake up? Is my brain screwing with me, or is there a ghost? But okay, this question is hard to type. Has it got? It's got the word supercalifragilistic in it.
Do your best. One letter at a time.
You're going to type it and ask me to spell it. That's a redundant question. So, yeah, once again, we're answering for our sins, and sometimes we come across maybe as flippant or, skeptical. We kind of don't mean to. We're just having fun.
I'm always open. I think that's a part of it. You have to stay open to anything being possible. Yeah,
and I'm open to possibilities. It's just when the narration starts, that's what, and that goes back to talking to the professor there explained that, one of the reasons that science doesn't dig into this more is because of those narrations that are just, out there,
It's really hard to narrow it down.
With very little anything in your hand, The psychic investigation has been going on for over 100 years, and we got bugger all to show for it, to be honest with you. All we've got is, we've got good theories and we've got extremely bad folklore. Which one do you go? Where do you go with that? And it's fun. I get it. You know, it's a fun thing to do.
It depends on what you're trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started, I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be cool, going with the guys. It's like a guy's night. And it got way more serious really fast.
Yeah, it did. That's when the duct tape came out.
Is that a donut?
How do I feel about deja vu?
Isn't that explainable to a point?
Everything. Well, here's the scientific explanation for it.
There's some kind of study on that.
Is that memories when they get screwed away in your brain doesn't take everything like a video. It takes points. Basically, you fill in the rest. So with deja vu, what they think is happening, and once again, it's one of this with the hard problems of consciousness. What a neurosurgeon will tell you is that the synapses, the memory synapses, fire back like an echo. So you'll get the memory, or you'll think you get the memory as you're doing something. Where and it's so fast.
Yeah.
So put it this way. So the information's going in and then bounces right back to you as a memory almost as if the same time you're doing it. So that's the scientific explanation of it. Now, that being said, once again, I believe in possibilities, because if the conscience isn't a product of the brain, maybe, there is something else going on there. But, we don't know that until we get that deep into what consciousness is and measuring the stuff that we're doing.
So, and for right now, off of what we know, that's where we are. So,
when do you throw data out? When do you keep it? How do you know what is what? What is your advice on real data versus what you want to hear?
The real clear stuff.
First off, I don't throw out data. I've got hard drives full of it, personally, because, filtering data is hard, because you're always subjective. Everybody's subjective. Even scientists are biased. So everybody's got a bias.
You know what? One thing that we do that's a really good practice is John will find something, or I'll find something, and then I'll write down what I think it said, like, help me, or can you hear me? And then I'll play it for him and see if he hears the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good one.
That's a good filter.
Yeah. That way you know if you're making it up for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate the word evidence too, Shay. But, we use it because that's the speak of, the genre we're in anymore. But, as far as data goes, everybody is biased on data. And, all I kind of want or try to strive, what I strive for is to be objective. And, and sometimes I'm more successful than others, than other times. So,
you know what, though? I promise you, if you play a piece of data for somebody after what you thought you heard, usually they don't hear it too.
No.
And that it'll throw like half of your evidence out the window.
No, you keep
kind of. You still keep it, but
just because they didn't.
A lot of times,
try it on 5 people. If you get 3 say what
if you play it for a bunch of people and no one else hears it but you, it's
but
someone else hears blah blah blah, and you hear
indicative. It's indicative.
Yeah.
Yes, it's popular in here. Actually, our next show is about Are You Cool or Schooled, Shay. Right. So, yeah, that's where we're really going to start pissing people. So when do you throw data out? We don't, because here's the thing. We may get something even 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road that's similar, and we can go back and go, wait a minute, didn't we get? And then, you start, it's not all going to happen all at once. So the more data you have that you can refer back to, the easier it is to try and get a pattern out of it.
Yeah.
And what is your advice on real data versus what you want to hear? Well, you don't know. You can just try and be objective and bring in other opinions, I guess. And this is the sad fact, is that, like I say, we go back to the narrative of what people think it is. I discount a lot of times the narrative. I don't mean to, and it's not, I'm not being mean to people, but I am interested, and I think it's possible. It's just, I don't want to take on their bias as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to go, well, it's a shadow person with a hat and one glowing eye. So that's a new subspecies of shadow people and fill in the data. That's not going to happen. So, I try and get, personally, I just try and get the happenstance that happened and, note it down and see where that goes.
That's one of the reasons, too, why we don't throw out data is to see how many times we can get the same thing somewhere to kind of compile it.
Next question is, are you religious? Are you religious, Nico?
Not really. No.
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
I'm open, but I'm not really.
I think it's a good thing when it helps people. If it comforts people and helps people, that's fine. But the problem is a lot of religions start being exclusive. So they say, well, if you don't follow us, you're going to burn in hell forever. He's a loving God, or they'll call it jihad, or, I try and stay out of that. I mean, I don't mind people being religious. I don't, as long as it's a personal belief, and if it helps you, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So
to me, if something is there, it'll still be there whether you believe in it or not, right? I mean, I was just saying, do you have to believe in it for it to be there?
Well, that's the old question.
We're all going to die. We're going to find out.
Well, the old question is, well, you should believe in God because even if it's not true, it doesn't matter. But if he is true, then you get to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Which is,
I know.
So, let's see. Religions. How do you handle people having harsh reactions to your opinions?
I don't mind them.
Oh, I'll try. I'll try and reason with them. But if they're not being reasonable, it's like talking to the deaf. Then I try and listen, and if I have an objection, I'll bring them. Someone to watch. If you guys have ever, I mean, this kind of goes together with the religion as well. If you go on YouTube and watch Christopher Hitchens, he's dead now, but that guy was like the best debater, and he was an atheist and he used to debate against all these religious people, and they used to get really upset at him, and he would. He's kind of like my role model of how to handle things. So
to me, what's the point of getting upset? Like, if you want to have a discussion with somebody about your view and they have something to back their view, talk about it. Be open to where, if someone can almost prove you wrong or make you wonder for yourself, talk about it. There's no point in getting all angry.
My aim is I just want people to think about what they're saying sometimes. You kind of hope you'd say, did you hear what you just said? And now think about it. It's like, what is it, the Flat Earthers?
Yeah.
Did you see that post with we have, 50,000 followers around the globe. And it's like, no, wait a minute, you're the Flat Earthers. Listen to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, let's see. I'm sorry, I'm just
computing.
Computing reading, and my eyes are going. So, are you guys married? No, not to each other.
I want to be.
Not to me.
I've been following him forever.
Man.
Come here, honey.
You should know better. Just shut up and so.
I feed him donuts on investigation.
And this is why we have to use the duct tape. Yes, I'm married. I'm on wife version 3.0. And I have 4 children. So, all with the first wife. And they're all in Germany because I was in the army. And that's where I got married back then. She's German. So, yes.
I am divorced with 1 child. That's the beginning of my story.
Man, that's kind of...
Maybe there's 2 more divorces to come. And 6 more children. I don't know.
That's kind of threatening. That's the beginning of my story.
I run from children now. I only want 1. I've done my bit.
Man, I had 4. I was like...
I'm almost free.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine 4. I'd just be sitting in the corner throwing money at them. Go away.
No.
Go be yourself.
No. What you do is you make them creative. You say, look, here's crayons. Or I used to do war game. They used to paint my miniatures.
Yeah,
and they used to love doing that.
You can always have a clean house, too. 1 do dishes, 1 sweep.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. One's clean and the other 3 are wrecking it. So He's looking at me.
Go to your room. Which one?
Shut up, sit down. I know, let's play a game. First one to talk loses. The last one to talk gets $5. That's $5 I ever spent. So, yeah. Let's see. Are there any questions I've missed? Any questions? They've all fallen asleep, Nico.
No, that's good.
Or left. They've left.
No, we got some good questions tonight. I'm happy about that.
They're like, bugger this, I'm going on the other channel. There's a better podcast over there. That's just... so yeah, basically, well, we're just trying to be objective in a field that I think the paranormal community shoots itself in the foot a lot of times. All these things that people believe are, nothing wrong with believing in it. But if you go at it objectively, that's. I think you'll get a better response. If you could, there's lots of theories I believe may be true, and I test for those and do experiments for them and say, well, if it's true, would this happen? And all the repercussions of something you believe is true. Try and recreate it and document it and all that good stuff.
Too, I've had people. I've sat and talked with them about you've gone on investigations too now. Oh, what do you think? And I've told them what I really think. And I've literally had them say things like, oh, well, that's no fun. You're making it boring. Or, coming at it from a realistic point of view. They don't want that. They want the shock and awe. They want to show the scary pictures to their friends. That's people I don't go on investigations with.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish people would think a little bit more when they finish saying a sentence, going, hey, hang on a minute, if that's true, then, what does that really mean?
But then they don't care.
And if it is true, why aren't more people getting it? I don't know.
But the ones that don't care.
That's fine too.
Even after you kind of explain it to them, they're like, no, I'm still going to do this. And
that's fine. And I don't mind. I mean, like I said, people have a belief, and that is, if it helps them through bad times, that is a good thing. What I don't like is we'll go somewhere, and these people with their narratives have been pissing in the pool of research for me, because now there's all these things that are supposed to be there and happen that really aren't, and then, you got to strip all that away. And, a lot of them contradict themselves. A lot of them are found out to, get totally debunked, but the belief still doesn't go away. So, you're kind of fighting upstream. And that's what I mean about, shooting themselves in the foot. So, that's, and it annoys me. My pet peeve, and I do have a bias, is when people call themselves, oh, we're paranormal investigators, and then they don't bloody investigate. They're entertaining. It's a reality show. That's my pet peeve, So
I can agree with that.
That's the one to get. If you, that's fine. You can be a ghost hunter or a paranormal experiencer, or just not. Don't. I will say something if you say investigator. Hang on a minute. Something just went ding.
Click it right.
Hang on 1 second. Doo.
People.
All right.
Beep.
So, where are we at? We're at 7:50. So, we got about 10 minutes left. What's your scariest experience, Nico?
Mine was at Edinburgh when Num Num started going off like crazy. That one that we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
That was one of my frozen moments where I was like, is this happening?
Yeah, that did put the wind up me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I mean,
and it stopped when I asked it to stop, and did it again when I asked it to do it again, and did it on another floor.
Yeah.
That one is the craziest thing. That's in my 6%.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Because we had one downstairs that was going off, and then we asked, can you set the one upstairs off? And then the one upstairs went off. Yeah, that was... Yeah. I mean...
And it stopped when I asked it. Remember, we came out the door and I was like, hey, can you stop that? Because we just thought it was the battery. We were debunking ourselves while it was happening. Like, oh, that's the battery dying. That's equipment failure. hey, can you stop that?
That was
And he quit instantly.
Yeah, no. See, that's being objective goes. That's a two-edged sword. So things will happen, and I have to catch myself. As I say, everybody's got bias. So I go straight away into debunk mode. I'm getting better at it now. But, if the equipment starts going off, I'll start playing with the equipment to find out what's going wrong with it. I've stopped doing that, and I'll play along with it now. Because that Edinburgh moment, that's what taught me to do that.
Although that night, that made sense. I mean, I thought it was a battery dying.
Yeah.
That's what equipment like
because
that does.
Because it was so extreme.
Yeah. That's what equipment like that does when the battery's down.
Actually, no, it don't.
It does, kind of.
No, it doesn't.
There are things that start going beep beep, or they start, jamming, and you'll hear like a loud screech or whatever.
Well, I looked that up. They don't. And I've let it run out of batteries here to double check that.
No
it doesn't
way.
do it.
It doesn't do it.
Nope. That's what I mean.
So that's, for me, that's one of our
so
ones.
I guess even when you debunk, you've got to debunk your debunk.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Because I didn't know you had done that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
To just bring it here and let it run completely out of battery.
Yeah. So, so yeah, I mean, being objective also goes the other way. You've got to, at some point, you've got to, if you get a debunk your debunk, but I've learned from that experience that, go with the flow, check the equipment after that.
When it went off upstairs, though. Ooh.
Yeah.
Can you go upstairs and set it off? Beep. Oh, no way. I was talking. I was like, no effing way right now.
Yeah, that pulled the wind up me. I mean, I don't really get scared. Scary might not be the right word.
I was excited.
I've had jump frights, and stuff like that, but nobody's ever died, investigating ghosts. So
that was, like I said earlier, that was one of the moments where I froze, but my eyes were open and I was paying attention.
Yep.
And I was directly behind John. I put my hand on the shoulder and I was like, dude, we're not going anywhere. This is happening.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you get that fight or flight response when something like that happens.
I thought you were going to run out the door.
I
did. I was like, no.
Get the duct tape, pin him to the wall. Let's see what happens to him. Okay, so what's this? What would it say to move this field from a pseudoscience to something more legit? A hell of a lot, to be honest with you. I'm not even sure. Well,
I mean,
it's gonna take two things in my mind, and the first thing is going to be that science itself has to move towards us, and the only way they're going to do that is if they get some sort of evidence, let's say of let's say a universal conscience. I don't know, to pick one at random. So, like the graviton wave, they figure out there's a field out there, and when they ask it 2 + 2, it comes back and says 4. That's just a really random anecdote, but that's one thing to move science to the middle. The other thing is data's a thing. It's how you interpret data. So, what the paranormal culture has to also do is move more towards the middle instead of taking something and running 500 miles with it, and explaining that it's all kinds of stuff. Blue orbs mean this and green orbs mean that, and I mean nobody knows where that ever came from. There are people claiming to be psychic, and I don't write those off if you listen to our podcast. But I bet you they're not all psychic, and that's the problem. You psychics aren't proven, therefore you're trying to prove something with an unproven. So I'm not saying that they should all go away, but it needs to be reined in a little as far as the narrative goes.
I think that's something that a lot of people need to accept is it's not happening near as much as you think it is. It's like, it's not happening all the time everywhere and all these stories you hear.
It might be, but it's really subtle when it happens.
I don't think it is, though. I think a lot of the stuff could be debunked if looked at the right way.
Yeah, or it could be happening all through the day in our daily lives, but it's so subtle it doesn't register because we got so much noise going on. See, that's one of the things the physicist said. He said, one of the things to do like they do with the Hubble telescope, is take away the knowns, and then see what you've got left. So start taking away the noise. And the problem with the paranormal part of the noise are the story. And they're fun. I get it. I'm not attacking people. But as far as looking at it objectively, these narrations are part of the noise that I have to, pull it out and
Totally.
and see what's left, I guess, is where I'm driving at.
So kind of how you interpret it is where it starts, really.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
But that's the kind of thing. Hey, Darren.
What's up, Darren?
Yeah. So, Darren's just come in, so thank you and good night.
Good to have you.
Let's see. I hope you two keep doing the show. I might always agree down the road or now, but we need more input info like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that means a lot.
Yeah, I don't mind throwing a wrench in people's works. That's
No, really, no. And
No,
we want people to know that we're open and we want people on the show
Yeah,
too. We want to discuss.
we want feedback.
That's
and
the whole
discussion,
point of this. We're not closed-minded.
So, but I just, I find it, like I say, taking an idea and running 500 miles over the horizon with it is, I'm going to, like they say, if you set something up without evidence, everybody's allowed to knock it down without evidence, so it's kind of pointless. You don't need evidence to knock it down because you've got no evidence standing it up, is the problem.
Totally.
Let's see. How many demons can be in one setting of a house?
Three.
How many chairs you got in the house? I don't know.
3.5. Apparently 300. I guess.
I don't buy into demons. I'm afraid it's now. If you listen to the last podcast,
One per
bad
child.
spirits I don't mind. I can buy into if there are ghosts and there are bad people that become ghosts, then you're gonna have bad ghosts. But demons just have too much baggage on that word,
Yeah.
So, and then once you use the word demons, all the beliefs that go hang around demons, all that baggage goes with it. And how many exes can you live with? Well, none of them. That's why they're exes.
Maybe
I
that's why
guess.
you think you have demons in your house.
Yes. Well, I did. I did for a while there. Yes.
Just kick all the X's out. You'll be all right.
Yes. I have procreated with demons.
Throw holy water on them. They'll go away. It burns. That's not the holy water.
That's terrible.
Oh, yeah. I'm
You
terrible.
apologize
Oh,
for your
yeah,
words,
I'm
young man. Question. What's your least favorite device? Go on, Nico. You go
I'm
first.
thinking about it.
Oh, my God.
I am. I'm thinking about it.
Oh, he's got the vein going in his head.
Oh, yeah. Look. The K2 meter is not a big one for me. Really, honestly, anything that comes with a giant blinky light and says Ghost Hunter on it.
I think, a lot of the stuff that gets developed for the shows, they're there to make a show. I get that. And there doesn't have to be much theory behind it. It's just something that goes off. I don't like the ones that give false positives. You're right, the K2 does because they're seldom shorted.
Yeah.
I don't like the flashlight trick. That's been debunked like 100 times, and I can make, so...
That's even an old trick from childhood. I remember that. You can get it just right,
Yeah.
and then a bump and come on.
Well, you don't even have to bump it.
You don't even yeah.
There's only certain ones that
It'll
do it.
eventually connect. I mean,
Yeah. It's because they're on a reverse, so you don't push it to go on, it releases to go on. So, as it expands, it loses contact, turns off. Because it turns off, it contracts, which then pushes it against the on, and then it turns on again.
Down.
And there's tons of...
It's all about looking at your equipment objectively. What does it do and why? That's what a lot of people don't do. they buy it because it's on a ghost website or something, and they don't know what it does, why.
And they
just read the description of what it's supposed to do, and they don't actually.
Well, and the firms are just as bad. They'll say it finds ghosts. It's like, yeah, how do you know? Prove it.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, what about trying candles that twist on? You could. I mean, why not? If you want to do stuff like that, my favorite is put iron filings in a bag, spread them out, and then take a picture. And then, when you're done with the experiment, done with the investigation, take a picture of it again. If those iron filings have moved, that means something electromagnetic passed over them. It's cheap,
yeah,
and it works. So,
and you can tell the difference between like a raccoon stepping on it and it being moved slightly.
How do you feel about the battery stupid thing?
What is that? What's the battery stupid thing? I don't know.
Chat's getting out of control here. We've lost control. We've lost control. Mayday, mayday, control has been lost. Eject.
So like when you look a 9-volt? I see a demon now.
Nine volts for babies.
Come on, man. Hook a car battery up.
Nope, real men like nuclear generators. What's wrong with you?
Is that what that is in the secret lab? Is that how you start your morning? Yeah.
Your experiment with the cue cards. Yes,
yeah,
that was good. Actually, we have more in the same vein coming up. I want to do a Ouija board, and then have the person running the Ouija board blindfolded. Okay. I think that's going to be good. And then, what else? I want to do the same thing with pictograms with the cue card. Just have pictures instead of words.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I want to see if that. I like the flashlight. See, and that's the problem. Everybody likes the flashlight thing because it actually gives you something out of it. And that's the problem. It's a false positive.
But it's proven. I mean, look it up.
And that's why people like it. They'll get people spend money to stay in these houses and spend money for the equipment. So they're really invested when they go on an investigation.
Yeah.
You know?
They want something to happen.
And if they buy equipment that doesn't do bugger all, it doesn't work.
I'm telling you personally, we've been places where nothing happens. It doesn't happen every time you go, multiple things. Sometimes you go and nothing happens. Your equipment does nothing. And that's a good thing.
So Matt wants to know, can you explain what your ghost feeder is? Yes. So there was a time, and I don't know if they still are, somebody came up with the idea, if ghosts, so batteries go flat, ghosts are feeding on energy. So they said, okay, let's do a ghost feeder that gives out energy. And then we looked at one, and it was a 9-volt motor in a box that just span. I'm like, well, how much energy is that really putting out?
Not much.
I mean, it will set off. The reason it sets off the EMF meter is because there's magnets that drive the motor that are spinning, so it sets off EMF. You know, so people think, oh, look at the energy coming out of that. Well, it's not. It's just the magnet spinning, setting it off. So we sat down and thought about, okay, if this is true, how are we going to put energy into the air in a meaningful way without hooking up a nuclear reactor?
There's sirens in the background.
Yeah. So the thing is, we looked at metal detectors because the way they work is they put a big magnetic field out far enough, it's going to penetrate Earth. It'll hit metal, which gets charged up, and then it's got an inner coil that can then receive that charge back at it, and then it goes off. That's how they work. Yeah, my house is burning down. That's fine. Drink another tea, just pee on it. That'll be good. So the magnetic field coming out of the outer coil hits, if there's metal or anything that's going to reflect back, hits the inner coil when it goes off. And that's what the ghost feeder is. Basically, it's a metal detector, but we stand it on end, so it looks like a radar dish. So it's pointing straight at a room instead of pointing down. And then we turn it on, and you have to be within 2 or 3 inches with your ring to set it off. Yeah. So it basically puts energy into the air. That's why we call it the ghost feeder. But the nice thing is, if anything, is close enough to reflect that charge back at it, it goes off. And, basically it's just a metal detector.
That should never go off. I mean, we've taken it to places and had it never go off.
Yep.
We've sat it back here, let it run until the batteries die, and then we've taken it places and it goes off like crazy.
Yep.
I mean, remember when we took it to the squirrel cage and it didn't even go off around the bars?
No.
The only place it went off was upstairs.
Yeah. The place that should have gone off was down in the gel that's surrounded in metal. It doesn't go off.
Doesn't
you have
go
to
off.
be within 3 inches of it.
All right.
Yeah.
But it went off upstairs in the living area.
Yeah. We take it places and it just goes off. And sometimes we've had it go off asking questions, kind of like people do with a K2 meter. Now, once again, I'm not going to tell you all that Ghost did it, but it's
and we've taken it places that claim to have hundreds of spirits and nothing.
Yeah, too many.
Not even a single one of them decided to say hi.
Maybe they weren't hungry. So, alrighty. All right, guys. Well, any more questions? Ghost feed of wine and cheese. No, we just get the wine when it doesn't go off. That's yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing we like is the I like our tri-field EMF meter because I've rigorously tested that. It's fully shielded, and I can switch it to if it's reading electromagnetic or just magnetic or radio. And that's the big one where we caught out the K2 nearly every time. When the K2 started flipping, I'll bring the tri-field over, nothing else is going off. I switch it to radio, and it will start dancing the same as the K2. So I know that K2 is picking up radio signals.
One of the things I like about it is it doesn't go off all the time either. I like how rare it goes off.
Yeah, so when it does go off, it's meaningful.
Yeah,
so
makes it more important.
All right, guys, we are going to wrap up. And
thank you for tonight. This was great.
I'm here. They can't hear me.
All righty. So, yep, we're out. Thank you very much for listening. Oh, we got a question here.
Oh, one more.
How do I feel about laser grids? How do you feel? I think they're a good idea.
I haven't used them enough.
I think they're a good idea. In fact, because the theory is actually sound on those. So if you are going to get a visual apparition, it is interacting with light. And yeah, they can hear you, Shay. Because you're plugged into our input. But that's fine. So yeah, the laser grid I like because it we have tonight's special guest on our live show is Shay.
Third member.
Thank you for coming. Yes, I've seen that. The GS2 at Ghost Stop. I like that. I went with a LiDAR myself instead of that, just because it's raw data instead of whatever the interpretation is that they're doing. The LiDAR is kind of nice in that it spins around like a radar, and it's a one laser beam that spins really fast, and then when it comes back, you can see the outside of the room as it's bouncing off of the walls. The nice thing is anything gets in the way of it, it doesn't pass through. So you see something's there. Even if it doesn't light it up, you see it because there is a big gap where the wall should be. You know? Which
is something that we're going to start using a lot more and maybe even put in our videos.
Yeah.
I mean, we've just touched the surface with that. So
yeah, and it's only like $100 to buy a LiDAR. You just plug it into your laptop and you can sit there and it will map the room for you. You can see the room. It's like little dots where the laser's hitting it and bouncing back. So, yeah, if you use a LiDAR, you can map the whole room too, not just where you're pointing. It's 360 degrees. So you just put it in the room. Make sure, I got a 15-foot USB cable. I'll sit in the doorway with a laptop and just map the room and sit there watching it, seeing if anything blocks, anything shows up on it, or if it's blocking the wall out.
And you can leave it recording too. You can just leave it there, see what you get later.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna start including that on investigations and putting videos down. We haven't done many videos lately, but
well,
it's winter, and a lot of that stuff is just experiments. So, alrighty. So we are going to wrap this up, and like I say, and our next show is is Cool or Schooled. So
that would be a good one.
Yeah, where we just talk about the current state of what we did in research of what the current paranormal people are doing out there that we see. Okay, a lot of it's on Facebook and YouTube stuff, so it's just what we saw. So you can check up on our stuff on phantomscience.net. There's a link to our YouTube channel. If you subscribe, it makes us want to do more videos. And Facebook, so you can keep up to date with us. And
we're going to do them anyway.
Yeah, we'll do them anyway. But subscribe just makes us feel good. So, alrighty, and thank you very much. You've been great listeners, and appreciate
a lot of
it.
good questions tonight. Thank you, guys.
Yep, and more feedback.